Hello, we are the Salon Sleuths. My name is Melissa,
And my name is Leslie.
and we are two women from the Pacific Northwest. We are both curious about paranormals, spirit guides, ghosts, past lives.
We are suspicious about true crime, disappearances, and strange phenomenons. We are open to learning about the supernatural and all things we don't understand.
Together, we're opinionated with a splash of smartass. Join us to learn. And stay curious, stay suspicious, and stay open.
Follow Salon Sleuths on all major podcast platforms.
Hey-oh, it's a day-oh. Daylight come and me wanna go home.
Ew.
You're like, that was a nice forced laugh. Why do I not see you? Where are you?
Well, I wanted to explain something.
Are
you know
recording?
I'm a little crazy, right?
I know you're a lot crazy. What did you do? Did you shave your hair or color it?
Oh no, I would have loved to shave my head. I just haven't had the nerve to do it. I don't know if I'd look good without hair. Whatever. But I wanted to explain to you that I've been listening to some TikToks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of what I listen to is
no.
like now my feed is full of like ADD stuff.
Okay.
And part of it is you just need to eliminate some of the things that are distracting.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
Here you go.
Shut up.
Hi. So I thought I would just like eliminate what I usually pull on. So obviously I just did it because you can still see my marks in my
Are
skin.
You going to tell the listeners who cannot see you?
Why don't you describe what you're seeing?
Well, firstly, the background is this wonderful grass with dew on it, with some sunshine.
Yeah.
And Leslie is in her birthday suit, at least
it is my birthday month.
Up. Oh,
so maybe this whole month will be like this.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. So I don't know what you have below the microphone, but maybe above the microphone. Okay, speaking of which, I know I haven't even said hello to our listeners. Hello, Salon Sleuth listeners and Leslie.
Melissa.
I love the way you're opening this up. Just a little sass.
Well, okay. I thought I need to spice things up. Our relationship's like singing a little dull. So I thought, I love it. Why not?
Should I take mine off?
You could.
I shouldn't be advertising.
You bet. Like I had to make sure my camera was good first. So. Although it would be hanging, it would be like you have to see the whole floor to see all of it. But
oh my gosh, I thought you were going to have no background or something like that. I did not expect you to be naked.
That's why I wanted the shock value.
Oh my god, I love it.
That's what's so fun about.
Okay, so two things. One is you talk about how low your breasts go. So are they sitting on your legs right now? Like
no, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Okay. Secondly,
I just can't roll in my chair. I might like run over one. I'm kidding.
Can
it's
you
not
roll
nearly
them up
that
with
bad.
Scotch tape and tape them up? Like how does?
Well, then you would see it up here, wouldn't you?
Not if it was invisible tape, right? Or double.
I'd have to like do it like up and over my back. Really like secure it good.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay. Speaking of being naked,
yes,
my husband has trouble sleeping.
Yeah,
and he will sleep in the buff, right? So he will oftentimes go down to the sofa and just fall asleep. So he did that this week, and I said, so he goes, "Oh, I just went down to the sofa and I just fell asleep." I go, "So do you just lay directly on the sofa or do you put a blanket down?" He's like, "Oh no, I just lay on the sofa." I go, "Wait, so your butt crack is on my sofa?" And he's like, "Yeah."
It could be our sofa.
Well, it could be our sofa, but when I'm sitting on his butt crack juice, it's my sofa. Yes. Like you've just ruined my sofa. So he goes, "Now do we have to get a new sofa?" I'm like, "Can you just not put down a blanket?"
Well, we sleep on our sofa all the time.
Yeah.
And not on a blanket, but
not naked.
Well, not naked, but we do. But it's still like your skin sloughs off, right?
Yeah.
So from Bob, when I had the sofa made, I bought extra material and I made slip covers for each of the. You can't tell because it blends
Why
in.
didn't
It's the
you
same
have
color.
him make slip covers?
What?
Why didn't you have him make slip covers? By the way, Bob is a mutual furniture maker that we both know. And so why
And I
didn't you
nannied
just,
for his kids for
yeah,
many years. I lived in their house. I got
yeah,
married at their house. It's more than just like a family.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, he
you're
is
right.
my family, but he does make furniture. But
Yeah,
I don't know if they make slip covers. I mean, he could
of
have,
course.
but I just made them for each individual. Now I want to make other ones with different colors, but
Oh,
then I can just take those off and wash them
yeah. Bob makes
because I
all
have the
sorts of stuff.
dogs, and that's really why I made them is because the dogs are constantly on our things.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And by the
Oh my
way,
gosh.
our dog got the big snip snip.
Ooh,
Okay,
how is,
I don't understand. Have you had a male dog before? Is your dog male?
yes,
And he was
we did.
fixed?
Yes,
So did they just go in and take them out and leave the
yes,
sack?
yes.
So does it shrink? Because right now he's just got like all the skin that's hanging down.
I don't know the answer. Mine was a little dog. It's not Maggie. It was Copper. And I feel like he still had a ball sack, but I don't feel like it was just hanging limp skin.
Well, that's kind of what he is right now. So I'm like, is that gonna go away? That seems
I
kind of
don't
weird. Like,
think so.
like if it was a person, we would snip all of it and then
Yeah.
fix that, not
Would we?
just would we? Yes, we wouldn't just
Well, no, when
like
we
if you're
fix a
having a
men,
breast
we don't.
rejection, like you
Okay,
wouldn't
but
just
if
take
we
the mass out and leave the big saggy breast.
okay, but if we when we snip men, okay, if you want to call it snip,
Yeah, but
when
you don't
men
take the
get
balls out.
no, you just do you put a staple or cauterize and staple or cauterize and snip the line so the balls are still there, right? Just
Yeah,
the semen line.
but he's not. Like
So,
he's just got empty skin.
oh,
And so like
that's
from
weird.
behind you can see like where it
He looks
was.
like a saggy boy, is what
There's
you're
just
saying.
nothing there. And he's wearing this huge cone because he's like 70 pounds anyway.
Yeah,
70
he's
pounds,
huge.
6-month old. He's got this huge cone. And so he wrecks everything in the house.
Oh my gosh,
Anything he
yes.
touches, somehow he can get out the dog door, but he can't come back in.
Okay, look on Amazon. I've seen like soft donuts that you can get for them that they're like stuffed soft donuts that go around their head instead. So
Yeah.
when they're hitting shit, like it's like soft,
Well, we thought
like a
about just
pillow.
decorating the cone, like making him a flower or like
Yeah.
something fun, but
Yeah.
he just
The
has like
issue
another week.
the issue is not necessarily the cone, it's that the cone is hard and it's hitting and scratching
Right.
and all
He
that. Yeah.
comes up behind you because he wants to be with you, and
Yeah.
it's like digging into the back of your legs,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh my god, you
Yeah, I
dumb
know.
dog! Like, he's so sweet though. He was so sad when I picked him up. It was just I wasn't
Aw.
sure. And
Well,
then
he
like
was a little loopy, I'm sure.
yes, and they cried the whole time. And I called her. She's like, he was crying for us too, but I think
Aw.
he's just wants attention. And the next day it was like he never had the surgery. It was
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He probably doesn't remember it. So
no.
how's it feeling to be all loose and free while you're sitting there?
Well, I'm not actually. It just looks like I am. But
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Do you have like a strapless bra on? Because I'm
I
not
do.
seeing anything there. Okay, all right. Well, you're looking good. Oh,
There you go. So, which
girlfriend.
brings me to this app that I found a long, long time ago, and I forgot all about it. But have you heard of Whisper?
No.
Okay, so you
Is
can
it
basically
when
be
people talk like this all the time?
well, no, you could be anonymous and then just whisper like a secret.
Okay.
So
You
a
have a
lot of
good
people.
whisper voice.
Oh, I do.
Yes, you
It's like
do.
old, like Kathleen Turner, but
Yeah,
maybe back in
no.
like the 80s.
It's not old. It's
Oh,
seductive. You have a
oh.
seductive voice.
Well, then I would be perfect for one of those like phone sex things because
Do it.
behind the camera you see the big fat lady like sitting there. but she has a really good voice. Maybe that would be me. I don't know.
No, you're not fat and you're not in your gorgeous.
I couldn't even think
so.
of anything sexy to like.
I wouldn't either. I'd be horrible at that.
I would have to be one of those like dominatrix people, like you
Do
fat
this.
blah blah blah. Like I could probably be mean, but I don't know if I could be like be
Sexy.
seductive. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not very good at that either. I have to say, but No, what is whisper?
Oh, sorry. I already got distracted.
Squirrel.
So you can like say like secrets and stuff. Like so people on there, I was actually gonna pull it up, but my daughter's calling me, so I have to wait till her phone. There it goes. Um I was gonna read some of them because you can like supposedly it's anonymous, and I don't know how much that is, but um and you can find things that are popular or things that are nearby you. So right now, nearby me, I just want to meet a half decent girl to wife up.
Oh,
I'm looking for a
half
long-term
decent.
relationship, friends first, girls only. That just sounds like somebody who's
That's,
not
is he a
true.
guy?
That was well, so this they can use any background that they want. This happened to be a picture of a guy in the back, but it may not be
Okay.
him. It says rate mine. I don't know what that means. Rate your what? Just in,
Uh,
just recently, I realized that my eyes were hazel, not actually brown. I don't know how I didn't know this. Okay. Um, Another bored, lonely day. I wish I knew more people to hang out with.
oh.
You could just post whatever. So I just thought it was sort of interesting, but it kind of thought reminded me like, oh, I should get naked for the show.
This is what made you think of that?
Oh, here's this married dude bored working from home. Well, that's not my husband, thank God. Like, and this person's with zero point 0 miles away from me.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Ladies
Okay.
who would be willing to date a married woman whose husband knows what's going on and are okay with it. Watching? Question mark. Whatever. People are
Wow.
gross.
Wow. Look at that.
Um,
Well, I have not heard of that. Have you heard of this new I think we talked about this, not calling us ladies. Have you heard
yes.
did we
And I
talk
said
about
I
this?
had no problem with that.
Yes, me neither. Well, apparently now there's a set of people saying we don't want to be called females because that includes the word male, or we
Ugh.
don't want to be called women either because that includes men. And we should call all females, I guess I'm going to call them for lack of a better descriptor, menstruators.
What?
Yes. I'm like, what? This is not a real thing. I mean, first of all, for those of us who don't menstruate anymore, like, what's up with that? I know that's a
Yeah.
little TMI, but yeah, I had all that equipment removed. Like, so what? I'm not female anymore. What happens there? I
People
do
are
not.
too crazy right now.
It says I'm on female. Wait, sorry, feminist current. Planned Parenthood, as you may know, is the largest single provider of reproductive health services in the United States. The nonprofit defines itself as leading the reproductive health and rights movement and has supported millions of women. Okay, fast forward to on September 2nd, Planned Parenthood tweeted, menstruators in New York started to tweet the receipt celebrating the repealed tampon tax, but some are still charged. Menstruators in New York start, yeah, okay, so I'm rereading that. Many were left wondering what a menstruator was. Previous to this, we'd all simply referred to each other as women. But it seemed that Planned Parenthood social media in turn is not the only one confused about the fact that literally what female bodies are capable, oh, sorry, about the fact that literally only female bodies are capable of menstruating. Okay, but I think what she's saying, I guess this has all been new to me, but only menstruators are, because there's other females that are menstruating, only the menstruators are being taxed. Oh, but then it says, inclusive of whom we might ask, Solus response, menstruators is meant to include trans men, for example, who may still menstruate.
I'm.
I have no words.
This
I
is
have
so
no words for
weird.
this. I don't even like the word menstruate. Do you like the word menstruate?
No,
Me neither.
I don't like anything that has to do with periods.
I don't either. I can't
Ugh.
think of a single bloody term that I like. Did you like that one?
Gross. Though I don't know, people are way too sensitive and weird right now.
Ah, jeez.
Hey,
I
you've been
mean,
sending me all kinds of things.
I know,
What's
but
up? You've
wait,
been. I'm like, she's
I
been busy. She's been online
I have blown you up.
sleuthing.
Okay, but here is what I want to say to you before I go into today's story, because that's what I sent you, part of what I was blowing you up with. yesterday I was leaving my MPP girls, and I've told you about them, a message, and I used the word twat. Do you like the word twat?
Doesn't bother me.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's particularly, I reserve that for really bad women, but I like it better than the C word. So,
Oh yeah.
anyways, I used the word, and literally 7 hours later, I said to these women, who used the word twat? And they're like, you did. I am legitimately like, I do not remember using the word twat. Why did I use the word twat? So I go back and I find the actual video of me saying twat. And then I go, yes, I just used that word. I legitimately do not remember that. It scares the shit out of me sometimes that I feel like, okay, Melissa, you are literally losing your memory.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have those times when you're like, I just really don't remember that?
Oh, all the time. My kids are like, "You just said that." I'm like, "I did?" Like, or like I'll like call Ella, but I'll say Lucy, and I don't I thought I said the other one.
Yes.
Or maybe I thought I was thinking so deeply that I thought
Yes.
I said something and I maybe hadn't, or I had a conversation that didn't actually happen. Um,
I do those things too,
but it's
I,
weird when they can prove it, right? Like, 'cause nobody
yes.
hasn't been, I've never been recorded to be like, no, I didn't
Yes.
actually do that because I know in my mind I didn't do that.
Yeah. Like I was thinking that's not even use a word that I normally use. This was 7 hours, Leslie. This wasn't last month. This wasn't last week. This was 7 hours. And I didn't
So
remember using it.
maybe it's a word that you use so much that you don't even know that you're doing it.
Maybe. Eric goes, oh, it's a great British word.
What?
Twat.
It doesn't even sound bad, really. Like it could be referring to like just a
Yes.
brat or anything, but it doesn't
Well,
seem too
apparently.
harsh, does it?
So then my girlfriend said that her daughter, when she was young, instead of saying twit, she would say twat, but she didn't know what twat meant. She thought she was saying twit, like she's being a little twit. So she was like,
Okay,
honey,
what's the difference?
well, twat is your vajayjay.
Okay, because I would think like, oh, you're just being a little twat.
Yeah, no, that's this like the C word. That's equal to the C word.
Because I would think twit and twat are kind of the same thing. Because I'd be like, oh, you're being a twit would be the
Mhm.
same thing as being a twat, but maybe one's male, one's female. I don't
I think
know.
if you're being a twit, you're just being a little bit obnoxious and a little bit of, you're like just rubbing people the wrong way. If you're being a twat in my mind, you're being a downright bitch.
Oh, really? Or I
Yeah.
would think you're like being weak, like a little pussy.
Oh, that's a good one too.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, I think this is where we get in trouble because how you use it may offend somebody because of what they believe,
It's true.
where I have no clue of what it actually means.
I
So I
agree.
wouldn't be offended,
Yeah.
which also brings me to one of my clients comes in and she was saying how, oh, I've been listening to your podcast. It's so interesting how, Melissa is like the really smart one and you're the one that's not so much. And I was like,
What?
oh, and then I was like, well, she's probably true. Like, like Melissa's really like knows her shit. And then I'm like, like the
That's
big
not
dummy.
true.
But
That's
it
because
was weird
Melissa
when somebody
researches her
actually
shit.
said it. And then I was like, well, I feel that way. And I must come across that way. So I'm like, at first I was shocked. And then I was like, okay, now I can totally agree with that. Like,
Oh my gosh, I don't agree with that. Here's my thing about you and I, and this is for all of our listeners. And I know you want to get better at the, speaking and telling stories and everything, which I totally respect. But here's the deal. Leslie does all of the editing. She does all of the uploading. She does all of the managing our podcast, getting it
so
loaded.
when
Like,
there's mistakes, you know where that comes from.
well, yeah, but still,
Yeah.
like that takes a shit ton of time. And my feeling is, okay, if I'm contributing a couple hours to research and figuring out what we're going to what our main maybe subject is, and she does this too, but sometimes like I would be doing nothing if I just showed up and listened to Leslie. Like literally, I would just be sitting here being, and like which I was offended by this name until I heard really what it's called. Newscasters in sports, they have what is called the color guy.
Oh.
And I was like, what? The color? I thought it was colored guy. No, it's the guy who tells like the stats and about the athletes and who they are and everything. Leslie's kind of the color woman. She's like,
Is it
adding the
color
little
or
thing.
collar? Like that seems more like the
I think
collar
it's
guy.
color. I think you're adding color
Okay.
to these humans, right? So
Okay.
we'd be talking about Kobe Bryant and you'd go, oh yeah, Kobe Bryant when he was 14, he got cut from the, club team or, whatever. You'd
Yeah.
add the color. Well, because there are, African Americans, Black Americans on these sportscast teams. I thought it was the colored person when somebody first said that to me. I was like, oh, that's so offensive. And they're like, no, color.
Well, but I wouldn't be surprised if they change names because everyone's being sensitive. And I can understand why that would be.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah. So anyways, I feel like you're my gal who adds the funny little retorts and
the stupid comments that are people like, oh God, would
and
she
the
just shut up?
nakedness today, the nakedness.
Hello. I do have a watch on.
You need to take the watch and the sunglasses off.
Well,
It's
no,
really
like so I can see when I have to look down.
Okay, all right.
They're not real.
Okay,
it's
but take the watch off. You're ruining the vibe with the watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll take it off.
I love it. I love what you were doing.
I should have taken it off like yesterday so you wouldn't see all the lines.
You're making my day. Well, yeah, when you have bigger assets,
Well, like I'm hoping in a few months you'll see like my collarbones show up. So we'll have something
for
to like
hot summer.
Yeah, so
summer, what was
it's
it?
May 7th. Give me like 2 months and you should be able to see these bones.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
hoping.
That's way so quick. Okay, so what did your daughter call it? Hot babe summer or something like that?
Hot girl summer.
Hot girl summer. Okay, I love that term.
I gotta work on that, but it's gonna be more like hot girl winter.
Your glasses. See, you still can't stop fiddling. She's fiddling with her glasses, you guys.
It's bad.
It's okay. It's all right. We talked about getting you a fidget spinner, but you just
I have it. It's just
yeah.
Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first today?
I totally want to go first today. Okay.
So
did you hear that this last month in April, there was a 10-year-old girl who left her house in Indiana at about 6:30 p.m. on April 19th, 2021. And about 7 o'clock, her parents called the police and said she's missing. Police came out immediately. Thank you, local police. They came out immediately and they started searching for her.
Okay, wait, let's step back. She left at 6:30 at night.
Yes.
And they called at what time?
7.
Why would they think she's missing in a half an hour?
30 minutes. We do not know. I do not know that part of it. It's fairly fresh and fairly new.
Okay.
But something about this they knew. I don't know. I wasn't sure, like, was she going to the park? Was she going to a friend's house? Never made it. But clearly these parents were on top of it, right? Okay. They knew that she was missing and that she should have been where she needed to be already or home or whatever. So yeah, half hour later, they call police and thank God, thank you, police. They are all over this. They come out, they immediately start searching for her, talking to people in the area, and they speak with, and we don't know like how close this person lives to her house or whatever, but they speak with James Chadwell II. And he says, oh yeah, I saw the girl. She was here and she left. And they left his house. They were like, okay, thank you very much. They left his house. It seems like they became suspicious. Maybe they interviewed a few more people and were like, okay, he was the last person to have seen her. We're going back to him. So they go back to his house. And this is where the case is so fresh. We don't really know. They're not giving a ton of details like that. But they are pretty suspicious of him. And they ask if they can come in to his house. And he says yes. And when they get into his house, they notice the basement door has a chain and lock on it. And they say, hey, we want to go down in this house. And you know as well as I do, once you let them in, dude, you didn't have to let them in. Like if you had something to hide, permission. Yeah, why did you let them in? Well, so he unlocks the basement door and they go down. They had one policeman stay up, one policeman go down so that they could monitor him. And he has this pit bull dog. And the other one goes down. They find the 10-year-old girl
alive.
Oh my gosh. She is alive. She has been beaten. She has been bit by his dog. She's completely distraught, crying, naked. Her clothes were laying next to her. There's blood coming from her eyes. She said that he had his arm on her neck like a chokehold. And she clearly passed out. And she said when she came awake, her clothes were off and she had been sexually assaulted. And she says that he was going to kill her. is what she said. She was very upset, but she said he was going to kill me. And she says that she had stopped at the house to pet his dog when he hit her on the head numerous times and obviously drug her back into the house. It wasn't clear whether she'd come into the house to pet the dog or was outside, but either way, she was extremely close to his house. And so now he is facing charges of attempted murder, child molestation, kidnapping, and strangulation. And he has pleaded not guilty to this by his public defender. But here's the deal, and here's why I'm bringing this case up. This is a huge deal. Everybody's abuzz because some reports say 15 miles, other reports say 20 miles away is the scene of the Delphi Bridge girls. You remember this case. Okay.
Is he older?
Well, so this is the thing.
Because that video, that guy looked older.
Okay. So
and
he's
he looked
42.
like homeless.
He's 42. And so they have
was that picture sketch. You sent me?
Yes, that is.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, I sent her a picture of the two sketches. So police have come up with two composite sketches by people that may have seen this suspect on site. And both of the sketches look like this guy. Well, when one
looks young, one looks old. Yes. But the top right, is that the one from the Delphi Murders?
That was the first one. That was the first sketch I think they did. And then the second sketch. So but here's the deal. He looks like him. You can see eyes and mouth like so look similar.
Well, his nose even.
Yes.
So I mean, is there DNA at the Delphi Murders?
So we don't know.
Okay.
We don't know anything about that.
That was terrible.
It's horrible. So the deal with the Delphi murders, if you don't know, 2 8th graders, Abby Williams and Libby German, were discovered near Monon High Bridge Trail in 2017. And from this time, there have been 5 persons of interest. Chadwell is the 5th person of interest. And tips have been shared with this case, but not very much. There's been 2 composite sketches of witnesses that saw this man in the area, a grainy video picture of this man that you can find if you Google it on the internet, and then a voice on one of the girls' phones saying, like, go down the hill or down the hill. Yeah. And here's the thing. When the police came back out and did a second press release, they said, this man may look older, but may be actually younger, or may look younger than he actually is. So there was a lot of like really vagueness about what he looked like. Here's the interesting part. So I actually went down the rabbit hole looking at the other suspects, right? So what do the other suspects look like compared to these composites? And I'm like, okay, I can see all the similarities in these other suspects too. Holy shit. And then I looked up pictures of Chadwell over the course of his lifetime that you can find pictures on him. And you're like, oh shit. He looks like both pictures.
Like eliminating. Let's start with him.
Completely.
Oh my God, if that case was solved, that would be so amazing.
Right? Wouldn't that be huge? And here's what I have to say, and I don't say this enough. Oh my gosh, huge shout out to the police force that A, took this seriously, B, trusted their gut, went back to his house.
Yeah. So what happened? Like, how did they get to that house? Like, why him?
Well, that's the part I don't know. He must live in the area of this girl is all I can think, that they stopped at his door. He must be really close
by. Like,
yeah. I think he must be a neighbor. I could not find that anywhere that said he was a neighbor, because I just immediately wanted to say, well, he must be a neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Or he must be from within the area that she left the house to where she was going.
Yeah.
So if she was going to a girlfriend's house or a park, exactly, they would trace those steps, right? They would go, okay, well, here's our spot. Parents called in a half an hour, which means, to me personally,
she never made it there. So it's somewhere between the two.
Right. They either called Susie's house and they said, she never got here, or Susie called their house and go, hey, she never got here and I knew she was leaving because you called me, or the park or whatever. They were, whatever. Somebody had a reason to go, hey, within a half hour, she didn't show up. Like, what's going on? Right. So I don't exactly know, but he must have lived in the area. And either way, the dude's a bad guy. Yeah. So I actually don't feel very bad about calling him out, calling him a suspect. And then I went to the wiki page where all the suspects are, because I went kind of down this rabbit hole, like,
Right.
okay, well, what do the other suspects look like compared to this composite sketch? And I'm like, shit, I can kind of see all these all these bad dudes. And then I read through the list of, because I thought there was a father son for a little while that were being suspected, and they were like the son. I thought the son had turned the dad in, and I couldn't find that information when I wanted it now. So I don't know if I made that up or if that was for another case, or I just couldn't find it. But the other dudes too, I was like, should we, say their names? And they're not great dudes either. So there's reason to suspect them as well. Although one of them has been exonerated and another one has actually killed himself. So, because he did other bad things. And, but he had done it to his 27-year-old. And there's a part of me that says, they tend to sort of stick around that same age group.
So eighth grader, she would only be like 13 or 14, which is only 3 or 4 years older than this girl that he had in his basement.
Correct.
So it's kind of like fits the same mold. Like,
yes. Yeah. It's still.
Why did he let the police into his house?
I know, right?
Idiot. Like,
well,
they wouldn't see, like.
I was listening to a podcast that talked about that, and their sort of, I guess, feeling about it was that maybe he was out on parole or had a PO officer. And when the police went away, they checked his name and came back with, oh, he's on parole or he's got a PO officer. And so a PO officer can come into your house at any time. So they may have went to the, and this is total speculation, I'm totally making this up, but they may have said to him, hey, look, we know you're out on parole. We can call your PO officer right now and get them to let us in, because this is what you're out on parole, and these are your requirements or whatever. And so he may have known, like, he had to do this. I don't know why you would let them in, and then why you would I think I would have ran when the chains were on the door. Like, I have no idea.
I would have been like, hold on, let me get a drink of water or something. I shot myself, knowing that the little girl's in the basement. Like, you're going to be out to be caught anyway. But
I know. So I'm so happy that this little girl has been found. But
now she's got to deal with all trauma. That. But at least she's found. She would have died. They wouldn't have known.
To your point, the trauma that this little girl now has to go through. I mean,
so you don't know if he had a record?
No. Well, I know he has a lot of really bad tats. Okay.
Well, when the kids were little, I worried about that kind of stuff. They're predators in our neighborhood, right? So you would go onto the websites and figure out where, people who are on the list, what do they call that? Like the sexual, what are they? They have to be registered. What is that called?
Sex registry.
Sex offender registry, right?
Yes.
But then I was worried because those are just people that we know that got caught. We actually need to worry about the neighbors that haven't been caught.
Yes.
Right. Because, we know to stay away from that house, but we don't know about the house next door. Like, we just don't know. Like, you just never know.
Yep.
So you just need to be worried about everybody.
Yep. You are so right. And it's very scary. And I really hope for the Delphi girls.
I hope he's the one.
Oh, me too.
The family, like, the dad dropped him off to go on a hike.
Seriously.
Which is probably something they did all the time. Like, and then like something that simple. And then that one girl was so smart to do, like, what was a Snapchat?
Yeah. Snapchat. Yeah. Okay. So also, just like a side note, which I did not prepare anything for this, but so I'm kind of going off the cuff, but did you hear about Josh Duggar?
No.
Okay. Do you know who the Duggars are?
Okay. No, I know a little something. Tell me what you're about to say, though.
Okay, so they're all that huge family. They used to have a TV reality show, the Duggars. They have
he got in trouble. This was a while ago.
Okay, no, he got in trouble, but he got in trouble again, Leslie.
Oh, dang, what happened?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so a long time ago, like maybe it was not a long time ago. For me, it was a long time ago, like 5-8 years ago. It seems like I should be looking this up right now because I don't have the information on this. They found that he had child pornography, had a porn addiction. And the Duggar parents came out and said, he's getting counseling for it, blah, blah, blah. And at the time I was like, oh, hell no.
Didn't his sisters also come out and say that
Yes,
Yeah.
they said that he had done this, but the parents said no, that didn't happen. I'm pretty sure
Of
they
course they
denied
did.
it. Well, now
They
he
probably
has
didn't even know. Of course they're going to deny it. They didn't know they had so many kids to watch.
well, I think, they want to think the best of their kids and blah 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 blah. It was 19 kids and counting
Yeah.
was the show. Um but Josh Duger, I read this last night that the investigators said this is the worst child porn he's ever seen in his career. The worst images he's ever seen. One was of an 18-month-old baby.
Um,
Leslie.
well, doesn't he have
He
his own
was born on my
family?
birthday, March 3rd, 1988, but that's not my year.
But doesn't he have a family? Is he married and all that too?
Okay, so let's see, from June 2013 to May 2015, when news broke out that he had molested multiple underage girls, including 4 of his sisters, when he was 14 to 15, revelations that Duger had molested 5 girls and been a member of the website Ashley Madison led to the cancellation. I can't say no cancellation. There we go.
Yes, there you go.
Cancellation of 19 kids and counting in 2015. This publicity was one of the 10 big scandals of 2015. Oh my gosh. So April 29th. This was just a few days ago then. What, 8 days, 9 days? He was arrested by the US Marshals on child pornography charges.
Yuck.
Oh
He's in
my
big trouble.
gosh. Let's see if he was married. I do not know. But they were conservative Christians. He was homeschooled and passed Arkansas State test for general equivalency diploma, so GED, at the age of 16. Oh, yes, he was married. He entered a courtship with Anna Renee Keller on June 23rd, 2008.
A courtship, like that's
engaged.
dating.
Yes, they became engaged on September 26th through 2008. So just a few months later, were married. The couple has 6 children. Oh no, their first was born.
I wonder if it's any of his own kids.
I know. Oh my gosh. Oh, stop it. The couple announced on April 23rd of 2021. So this was 7 days. Am I saying that right? 7, 8, 9, 9 days. Okay, some days before they announced, or after they announced that they were having their 7th child, which is a girl. Oh.
Well, now she's screwed because she's going to raise 7 kids on her own.
Yes.
He's going to be in jail.
Oh my gosh, Leslie.
Well, you know what? Better off than having him around.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I totally agree. Well, so that's my stories. I just wanted to know if you
That's
heard about that,
disgusting.
because
Thanks a lot.
that Duger thing popped up on my feed last night. I was like, oh, we got to talk about this. I got to talk about this with Leslie. Yeah.
He's gross.
Yeah.
That's
Seriously.
sad.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Paul Carrison?
No.
He was from the Pacific Northwest.
Ooh.
And he was on Oprah, and he was the Blue Man. Have you heard of him at all?
No, I know the Blue Man Group.
No, like he was actually the color blue. And I'll tell you how he got there. So
Wait, what's his last name?
Carrison.
Carrison. Okay.
He looks like Papa Smurf, and he hated when people said that. And I'm not kidding. He did not like it. And especially if it came from like adults, like if it was a child, you can kind of understand.
Yeah.
But in like around 1994 is when this one said that he was normal. He was a fair-skinned, freckled man. And then one of his friends had gotten petroleum poisoning because he worked as a machine guy, like in a machine shop. and his friend got this petroleum poisoning. And so he was looking through a magazine, and there was an article or an ad for this. It's called Colloidal Silver Generator. And they
Yeah.
used to use this, like, according to Dr. Oz, this was something from like thousands and thousands of years ago. People would do it for different ailments because it was like the first antibiotic, basically.
Okay.
And he saw when he was reading the article that it can cure or help with petroleum poisoning. So
Poisoning.
he went and he purchased this thing for his friend. So he started making this water with silver in it, basically. And because he wanted to help his friend.
Right.
So already he sounds like a nice guy. So he goes to his house and they would enjoy a glass every day together. So it's about a 10-ounce glass. And it says there was like 10 parts per million of silver in that 10 ounces of water.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so he's doing it because he's like, why would I tell my friend to drink this and not me drinking it with him? Like, I'm going to enjoy it with him. Well, what he found out was in the first 3 days of him drinking it with him, it cured his acid reflux. And he's like, dang, wow, this is like amazing. So he's still helping his friend. Then he
Was it
said he
helping
got
the
this.
friend?
He was helping his friend because his friend had he
Yeah,
was
but
poisoned.
was it helping?
So that's the part I don't know.
Okay.
I
Okay.
couldn't find out. Like, did he cure his friend? Like, it never really mentions that afterwards. But then
Okay.
what he noticed was he was starting to get dermatitis. I don't know exactly what that is, but on his face. And he
Dry,
said it
like
was like,
dry skin.
yeah, and he said it was so bad, like the worst case you've ever seen, that some of his skin was coming off like ribbons. So he was dabbing the stuff on his face. And he goes, you wouldn't believe how great it was working. So they're like, he's like, oh, so he starts using it like on his body.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and I don't know exactly how this works. I took photography, but I didn't really pay attention. But something with the silver plates, you can create these silver plates, and then with the reaction with light, like create something. I don't know exactly. I could probably read you what I wrote, but I'm not going to bore you. But because it's when he was drinking it and he was putting it on topically, when he would go, like when he went into the sun, he turned blue.
Oh my
And he was,
gosh.
so basically, Dr. Oz told him that he basically tattooed from the inside out, and it's permanent. You can't go back. So he was blue the rest of his life. Now, there's been other people who have done this, and not knowingly. So it happened so gradually, he said, that he didn't even really notice it. And then a friend came to visit him, and he's like, what is on your face? And he's like, what are you talking about? I have nothing on my face. And he takes him to the mirror, that because I think his friend was standing side by side with him.
Yeah.
He was like, oh crap. Like, it's kind of like the blue haired ladies.
Yeah. What about
They
his
do that to
wife?
cut they do that out of, well, so he had a wife. I think he was divorced. At the time he passed away, he ended up having an estranged wife, but
Okay.
he was also a recluse. Like, he didn't go out very much.
Mm,
And so I think when his friend came over, like, he didn't even notice until he was next to somebody else.
yeah.
And he wasn't just blue, he was like a navy blue. Did you look him up?
Yes,
Because
I
he's got
did.
like
But how
white
do you
hair.
not notice?
Well, I think it happens so gradual, and then maybe the more exposure you have to light, the brighter it becomes. Because if you're indoors all the time, maybe you don't know. He was on the show, I think in 2008 with Dr. Oz, and Oprah's like, we've never had a blue man on the show before. And but there were lots of people. You can treat it for different things. So certain, like, from people from the Mayo Clinic, basically say it doesn't do anything for you. Like, that's an old school, like, that doesn't do anything. But then
Did
there
you just
are
make that
people.
sound?
What's that? Oh, it hit my thumb. Accidentally hit my microphone.
Oh,
Um,
it sounded like you were like bong.
yeah,
Okay.
no. But people treat it for different things. And even Gwyneth Paltrow takes it on a regular basis. I think she says she sprays it under her tongue. But if you do it in such small doses, it doesn't do anything, because it's like a medicinal thing. She says she even sprays it on airplane seats before she sits on them. Nobody,
Oh.
like, we don't know for sure, but
Yeah.
they used to use it, and he claims that it fixed this thing. Although I don't know if he continued to keep drinking it or not, because he ended up dying. Well, I heard that he had a heart attack and he had a stroke. So
Yeah.
maybe the stroke led to the heart attack. He ended up dying in like 2013. but he was even more of a recluse at that time because he really didn't like all the stares and he didn't like the comments that people said about him or to him. And so
Yeah, he died after a heart attack and
yeah,
stroke, but
it
he'd
was.
been suffering from a heart condition for a while. It said.
But so if it was this great drug, like did he stop drinking it? I
Right.
don't know. Because maybe it would have cured some of that. But I just thought that was because I was looking at this other thing about blue people, but I
Yeah.
will talk about that another time. But which led me to this guy because it was from the Pacific Northwest.
Where did
Well,
he
then I was like,
live?
I got to meet this guy. And then I was like really sad when he had already passed
He's
away and I
dead.
didn't have the chance to. But that's how I felt with Dr. Wayne Dyer. I really wanted to meet him. And I knew my time was limited
Yes.
because he was a little older, but I knew that it was like kind of I had to do it quickly and he passed away before I could meet him. But
I know. I'm actually
um
surprised that he died. Like, I don't know.
yeah.
So where did he live in the in
Well, it
Oregon?
didn't say, but he passed away at the Washington, up in Washington
Oh,
at
okay.
a hospital up there. So it was the Pacific Northwest. It could be up in up in Washington. It may not
Yeah.
be in Oregon, but anybody who wants to buy one of these generators, they're $229 at the original silver generator.com.
Okay, don't
Um,
do it, people. Don't do it. Let's just not. I think there's a reason why they stopped using it.
well, there is because they got newer things like right like
Yeah.
greater and better.
Okay.
But some
So
of those old things are like not so bad. Like
okay,
we
but sometimes you just don't know what you're doing with them,
right. You don't want to go
right?
blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
So two segues that you have brought up to me.
Yes.
In college, I dabbled with a little bit of eating issues, and one of the things that I would do is I ate a lot of
Eat two
vegetables.
two bean soups.
Yes, two bean soups, and I did this carrot thing. I was on this carrot kick.
Oh,
Well,
I turned orange
me
too.
too.
When I did the fruit and vegetables, like
Yes, that's right. You did.
well,
I
but
was.
there's
I
nothing
think.
bad with that, right?
Okay,
Like
no,
there's
but no, but it's weird because your
no, I did
hand is
notice
like
it on the
partially
palms of
orange.
my hands and the
Yes,
bottoms of my feet before I
me
noticed
too.
it on my rest of my body.
I didn't notice it on my face at all, like
Yeah.
ever. I mean, I slowed down after I saw it on my hands. I was like, "Holy shit, my hands are orange!" But
Yeah.
y'all, that does happen. Like, that happened to me in college. I do remember when that happened to you, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's happened to me." And you're like,
Yeah.
"What?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
And another
Um,
weird thing with carrots is it's only like the first couple of carrots that it makes me hiccup.
Me too.
Okay,
Me
good.
too.
Well,
Yeah,
I looked it up and they just said it's a weird reaction, but
yeah.
like
They
I
don't
can
know
eat a
why.
couple and then keep
Yeah,
going and then I don't keep it. It's just the
yeah.
first couple. Yeah.
I don't know when it happens to me. I mean, I've had times where it hasn't happened, but Eric goes, "Okay, if that happened to me, I would stop eating carrots." I'm like, "Well, no."
No, I think it's common.
And you know what? I just keep eating the carrot. He's like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe you're finishing that damn carrot. You've got," and sometimes they are the worst hiccups ever. We were on our trip in the RV and here I am just like, like dying. He's like, "Why do you continue to eat it?" I'm like, "Well, because I want to finish my good carrot." Like, okay.
You're
The
funny.
other segue that I was
Yes.
not prepared, I wanted to talk to you about, but I was not prepared to talk to you about it today. But we're going to talk to you because you segued it right into it. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Mhm.
Do you listen to the Shameless podcast?
No.
Okay. I do not all the time, but I listened this week and they had Gwyneth Paltrow on it. I've never been a huge Gwyneth Paltrow fan just because she seems so perfectly perfect. And, I like more authentically real people. But
I love her mom though, so she couldn't be so perfect. Like she's probably very funny.
so it turns out that I did like her on the podcast. She is funnier than I thought. And she's not as perfect. They said, "What's your vice?" And she said, "Oh, I love cigarettes. I mean, I
Ew,
don't I
really?
don't smoke them anymore." She goes, "I gave up my pack a day habit like at 20."
Oh
Yeah.
my
She
God.
goes, "But I love them. Over the years, I didn't smoke them while I was pregnant with my kids, but socially at a party or whatever, I'd have one or whatever."
That's really surprising.
I know. And she goes, "We didn't know they were so bad." She goes, "But we thought people were so cool, which I never had an addiction to smoking. I never liked it. But so this is the segue that I have for you. I actually did like her on Shameless. If you at all like her or want to hear it, check it out. But this is what happened in the conversation. They start ribbing on Jason Bateman because of his sex talk with his girls. So he has two girls. he had a sex talk with them. Now, have you had a sex talk with you have 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys. Have
No,
you
but
had
we
sex
we
talk?
don't we haven't sat down. I let the school did that, but we joke about things.
Okay. So do you tell them things over the dinner table? Like, do you
No, I just
explain things?
remember like one time we were watching, I might have mentioned this before, but we were watching, I think it was episode 3 of Twilight.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it's movie number 3, where they get married and then they broke the bed. Do you remember that part?
Oh,
And I
no.
remember Deegan
I
was
didn't
really
watch it.
little. He looks at me and he goes, "Have you done that?" And I looked around the house and I said, 4 times. It would have been 6 because I had 2
2
miscarriages, but yes.
miscarriages. Oh my God, that's so
But then, but we'll just joke. Like right now, the big joke is how I'm segueing into a little bit of sex talk is about the
Yes.
dog.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what is with the skin? Like, and if I can just openly talk about it, maybe it will
Yes.
lead to other like stuff. All it does is make Michael cringe, and he's like, "Stop talking about it." He's like crossing his legs. He's like, "That
Oh, so
hurts." Just
he doesn't like to talk about those things.
because he is like emotionally feeling what I'm saying
Okay.
personally,
Yes.
and
He's a feeler
he is feeling the results
of the
of what
dog.
happened to our dog to himself.
Did he get the
No, because I had
Oh my
C-sections.
gosh.
He just
Oh,
did
that's
it while.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he never had to experience that.
So the segue here is that
Yes.
I wanted to have this conversation, but we're going to have this prior to.
So
I
I love
wanted to have
Jason
Jacob
Bateman.
on. Yes, I just finished Ozark. I'm just
He's
like
so
in love
funny.
with him, and I wanted to have Jacob on, my son, because he and I had some sex talks over the years, and he had a sex talk with his dad, which was so funny. But this is what Jason Bateman says. He says that he was giving the sex talk to his girls, and he was saying, and then the penis goes into the vagina, and he didn't want to say the word ejaculation, so he said, and it screams into the vagina.
Gross.
So I was just laughing. My girlfriends on MP was laughing so hard. They were laughing at him. They're like, really? Screaming? Like you couldn't come up with something better? Or how about just
Throws up.
word? Yes,
Like,
that's what somebody said. They were throws up. So we're just like, really? I think the actual word ejaculation might have been better than screams, because now the girls
but coming from Jason Bateman, that seems fitting.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah.
So the reason I wanted to tell you that is because I want to talk to my son and see if he remembers this conversation. He was about 9 or 10 and he had just started baseball. He did not want to wear his cup for baseball. And I was like, dude, you got to wear your cup. Like you got to protect you got to protect the area. And he goes, why? It won't hurt that bad. Or, he said something like that. I go, because I want to have grandkids one day and you need that to have grandkids. And he goes, what? Why do I need that? I go, well, because you need the balls because they have what's in there to get the woman pregnant to have the babies. And he goes, well, this was the same time I think he told me that he was going to marry his best friend, Ben. And I was like, that's okay. I said, that's okay. But you're still going to need, you're still going to need your balls to have babies. And so he's like all confused about this, right? And I'm trying to explain it in a 9-year-old term, the best I can. And he says to me, you're lying. And I'm like, I'm not lying. Like, I am not lying, son. I am not lying.
Why would I lie about this?
Yeah. So I said, go home to Eric. I'm like, dude, you need to have a conversation with your son. I told him these things. I told him exactly what I told him. And he told me I was lying. And so he's like, okay, I'll have the conversation. Well, if you know anything about Eric, he doesn't want to have this conversation. This is not the conversation that he wants to have. So fast forward, I don't even know how many months. I can't remember. I want to say it was like 6 months later. He's driving again. Jacob's in the back of the car. And Jacob says, so dad, did mom give you your balls back? And he's like, what? And he goes, did mom give you your balls back? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, well, mom said that you need your balls to have kids. So when you gave them to her, did she give them back to you?
Oh, it's so literal.
So many jokes about him really not having his balls back, right? About, between women and men. But
he lost them when he got married.
He lost them when he got married. Exactly. That's really what we should have told Jacob.
Yes.
But anyways, So he says, so now he knows he has to have this conversation. He goes, well, honey, that's not exactly how it works, and he goes into graphic detail, in my opinion, for a 9-year-old. And he says, the penis goes inside the vagina and the penis, the semen
Screams.
comes out. Yeah, he did not say screams. The stuff comes out. And he even said like the hard stuff and all, gets hard and it goes in and it squirts out this stuff, ejaculates and whatever. And then, then the mom can produce the babies or whatever. And Jacob was so mortified. He said, wait, you did that to mom twice?
Yes.
And he goes, yes, son, twice.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yes. So that's our funny story. But then I've told you the 19-year-old story when I found out he was having sex with his girlfriend, right?
No.
Okay. So, and I want to hear what he remembers about these stories now. But fast forward now, he's been dating a girl for a while. I've told my husband, I'm like, hey, they're having sex. You need to have a conversation with him, and okay, I'm a little direct. So I'm like, you need to have a conversation. I want to make sure he's making sure that this just isn't about him, that this is about both of them, that they're being protected, blah, 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 whatever. Eric's like, oh yeah, I'll have that conversation. Well, no conversation. Oh no, I'm sorry. He doesn't say he's going to have that conversation. He says they're not having sex yet. I'm like, oh, they're having sex. I know they're having sex. They're having sex. So we fast forward a little bit. We go out to the movies. We come home. They had asked, because the rule was they couldn't be in the house together when we were gone. Well, good luck with that, right? Well, anyways, we come home, or they called and said, hey, can she come in when you guys coming home? We said, oh, about 20 minutes. Yeah, she can come in for a little while, but remember the rules. That was what was said, right? So we get home. I go into the bathroom to go to the bathroom because we just gotten home, and I see a condom wrapper in the toilet, floating in the clean toilet that had not been flushed down. First of all, I'm like, why the fuck did you put it down the toilet? Because you're going to clog our friggin' toilet. But
and this is the whole reason why you're not allowed in the house.
Exactly. Like you did exactly what we were trying to avoid, right? So I said, Jacob, what is in the toilet? And I'm standing in the toilet, like the toilet, I don't even remember, the door was shut. Like
it's still swirling, like he had just done it.
Oh yeah. It's just like still there, festering. And so I am so exasperated, but I do yell throughout the house, and I'm just exasperated, right? And I sit down, I just peed on it and I flushed it. I didn't even pull it out. I just was like, I don't even know what to do. So I went to the bathroom and I come out and my husband looks at me and he's like, what was it? And I go, it was a condom wrapper. And Jacob is now saying goodbye to his girlfriend, Darlene, at the door. And I go, Jacob, oh my gosh, no, I'm telling this story all wrong. Oh my gosh. Okay. I went in the bathroom. I go, what is in the toilet? What did you flush down the toilet? You don't flush things down the toilet. I come out. I'm like, what is in the toilet? I legitimately did not know at that time. I look at him. He's saying goodbye to Darlene. His eyes are darting, Leslie. Like he doesn't know what to do. And they were darting back and forth between no one. It wasn't like he was looking at me and Darlene. Like, what do I say?
Yeah, he was a moment of panic.
Yes. Darting. So at this point, I know something's up, right? Oh shit.
You didn't know what it was?
No, I did not know what it was at the time. I told the story completely wrong. So I go back in the bathroom and I realize what it is. This is the point where I'm like, holy shit, I'm just going to sit on the toilet and go to the bathroom and I'm going to flush it. So I've got, 2 minutes now while I'm in the bathroom to like absorb what has just happened.
Wait a minute. Let's step back. You were mad that he was going to flush it down the toilet.
I just was mad something was being flushed down the toilet.
That he flushed anything down the toilet, right? Then you decided to pee on it and still flush it down the toilet.
Yep.
Okay. I just want to clarify that you had the opportunity of getting it out first. Okay.
And I should note that the reason why this was such a big deal is because he would always flush down Q-tips and things down the toilet. And I'm like, dude, we don't flush these things down the toilet. So this had been kind of an ongoing conversation. You don't flush things down the toilet. So when I saw this thing, I didn't even look at what it was. I just was like, dude, we don't flush things down the toilet. Clearly it didn't go down. Well, then the eye darting. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Oh, I should go look what it is. So I go in, I just go to the bathroom, flush it down. Come back out. Eric's like, and I've been screaming this through the house before I knew what the hell it was, right? What is this? Why did you flush down the toilet? And my mother's there because it's the night.
And his girlfriend's like,
and his
I'm going to go
girlfriend's there.
now.
And she's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So I come out. Eric's like, what was it? I go, it was a condom wrapper. And he's like, so I go, what did I do? Oh, that was it. So I left the bathroom and I go upstairs and Eric came up with me and we're brushing our teeth or doing whatever. And Jacob comes in with a stack or like the accordion of like 3 condoms. And he goes into the bathroom. He hands them to Eric and he says, here, we don't need we won't use these anymore. And Eric goes, I don't need them. And he goes, well, we won't do it anymore. And I go, Jacob, no one believes that. Like, no one believes that.
Well, it's unrealistic.
It's unrealistic. Yeah.
So he was kind of owning up to it without owning up to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he feels horrible. Like the blood is drained from his face. He comes out and he's sitting in the chair in my bedroom and Eric's in the
and he really
bathroom.
Should be skipping and happy. And
right. So I sat him down. I said, look, here's the deal. First of all, we don't flush shit down the toilet. Like you're going to clog my plumbing. Like, first of all, that's the big issue. Okay. I go, second of all, sex is a very healthy thing. It is a wonderful part of life. It is nothing to be ashamed of. And I am so glad that your first time and everything.
Are you saying that was his first time?
Yeah, I think it was. Okay. I think it was. And I think I said
really he had 20 minutes and he's like, let's hurry and get this done.
Oh, not the first time, but like the first person. I was basically saying, look, you love Darlene. I shouldn't say her name. And I know you guys love each other. I know that you're in a loving, committed relationship. I know it's a monogamous relationship. I'm so happy for you. That's the way a good, sexual relationship happens. So first of all, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm glad you guys, you love each other, right? Like this is a wonderful thing. But in that, I want to make sure that you're being careful, that you're taking precautions. And he says, well, she can't be on birth control. And I said, what? She can. And he goes, no, her doctor says she can't. She can't be on birth control. I go, slow down. I go, she can. Because my point was belt and suspenders. Let's have belt and suspenders on here. Let's make sure you're wearing a condom. She's got birth control of some sort.
Well, if he's hiding it, she's hiding it. She doesn't want to mention it. Like
exactly. And he goes, well, her doctor says she can't, and she doesn't want to talk to her mother, and blah blah. I go, none of that is true. Like the mother through maybe she doesn't want to tell her mother.
She's 19.
There's some way. Yeah, exactly. So I said she can go to the school. She can go to the doctor on her own. Mom does not need to know. She can go to Planned Parenthood. Like there's so many. It's
not just his responsibility.
That's exactly what I said. And he goes, well, I don't know. That's just what she's told me. I go, well, that's not true. And I said, secondly, and I said, there's even over the counter things that she can use. Right. And I said, do you even know that like if she's taking birth control and she's on antibiotics for a cold or something that then they wouldn't work? And he goes, no, I had no idea. I'm like, what did they teach you in health ed? Like that should be.
Yeah, but you're the perfect mom for them. Like,
well,
help them through that.
So he's getting like paler and paler as he's talking about this. And so then I go, and also, I want to make sure that you're a giving lover.
I know you told me this.
And story. My husband turns from the bathroom. I mean, he is just like, what the fuck is going on right now? And my son is just like, Arr! And I'm like, look, this is not just about your pleasure. It is about her pleasure too. And I want to make sure that you are pleasuring her as much as you're pleasuring yourself and blah, 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 blah. So I'm pretty much just doing the talking and he's saying nothing, right? He's just pale. He's like, get me out of here. Help me. Like, let me get through this.
I have mentioned this talk to other people too.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to probably have the same conversation with my boys later.
Well, or
maybe I'll just have you tell them.
Yeah, exactly. Just have me tell them. I think that, as a woman, I thought that it was the job of the dad to talk to the son and the mom's job to talk to the daughter. And what I've learned is...
But you need the women's perspective.
Exactly. So
because
that
it's just coming from the guy, it's going to be just about them and not necessarily
exactly,
the needs of the other
exactly.
because they don't know.
And I think a lot of girls are going to downplay to my son, like, oh, it's okay, whatever. Or they're going to give and not necessarily know that they should want to receive, right? And all these issues. So I actually just kind of told him bluntly, and we had a conversation. Well, I did the talking, he did the listening, and my husband and he were both just aghast. But my husband went on to tell the story to all of his friends for like the
Yeah.
next 3 weeks, right? Oh
Well,
my
good
God,
because
listen to
he
what my
just
wife
made
said.
them better lovers.
Well, and all of his female colleagues that he told this story to, they were like, "Go, Melissa! Woohoo!" All this stuff.
Seriously, like there's just not enough of those conversations around.
Yes. Well, and I will tell you that then in college, when my son was single and talking to his friends, he said, "Mom," he came home from college one time. He goes, "Mom, I was talking to my girlfriends, and you would not believe how many men do not finish their women." I go, "Oh no, I would no."
Well, because they think like the making out part is like the foreplay, like
Yeah, or I think
the dry humping.
my actual thing is that I think a lot of oral sex happens now because girls don't want to get pregnant, and I think that there's not a lot of reciprocation from that. So that's my opinion. I didn't ask, I didn't go into detail, strangely enough, with him, but when he said that, I was like, "No, honey, I would agree." And he goes, and this was the cutest part. He goes, "Mom, I think I'm doing a pretty good job." But I was like, my work here has been done.
Yes. Nice.
I get an A for good mom today. All
Yes,
right.
you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We definitely need to have Jacob on next time.
Yes.
To
So
hear
I
the
wanted
whole
to have
thing.
him on and talk about that and go, okay, what do you remember about these conversations? Do
Oh
you
my God, that
remember
would be
about
so
the
funny.
conversation with dad and, all that? All right. Well, so listeners, I think we are done for the day. This has been great conversation. We actually covered a lot today, Leslie.
It was really fun.
I just want everybody to stay curious, stay suspicious, and stay open. And we will see you guys next week on Salon Sleuths. Thanks for tuning in. And please, please, please give us a 5-star on whatever format you are listening to and hit the subscribe button. We love to do these and we want to stay relevant. So thank you and have a great weekend.
Bye.